My name is Lars Skytte, and I'm Danish, so my English is not necessarily 100% correct, and there may be a weird accent, but I'll do my best, and I hope everyone understands what I say. So I get to present my big data project that I made a month or two ago. I'm unfortunately not able to attend live because I'm away on camp with the under 19 Danish floorball team, and I'm not under 19, but I am part of the coaching staff. I'm an assistant coach for that team. So unfortunately, I can't be there live, but I hope you all have a great conference, and I'll make sure to watch all the videos once they are uploaded. So again, I get to talk about my big data project, and you should definitely go read it. You can go to my website, hobbystatistics.com, and you can find it there. And this is it. So that's the first thing you should do. So the project is quite simple, actually. At least the idea behind it is very, very simple. So I just wanted to transform the event data into possession data. So the event data is from Stathleads, and it's from the 2021 NWHL season. So you can transform that data into possession data because it's as detailed as it is. You have passes, you have puck recoveries, you have shots, you have dump ins, dump outs. So this allows us to determine when, where, and how a possession starts, when, where, and how a possession ends. So that's basically the entire premise of this project, is to transform the event data into possession data. Now, it's not quite as simple as I make it out to sound, but it's not overly complicated either. So that's what I did. I transformed the event data into possession data. Now, this gives us two additional variables, because now we know the possession time. How long does the player possess the puck? When does the possession start? When does the possession end? It also gives us a possession distance. How far is the player carrying the puck? We know where the possession starts, where the possession ends. So this gives us two extra variables that we can look at. And I don't think anyone else has done it, at least not in the public sphere. I haven't seen anything like this before. So I think it's relatively original. But go read the project and I'll talk about it a bit more. So instead of looking at things in a PowerPoint presentation, I'm just going to show it directly in the spreadsheet. I think that's easier to understand this way. So the first thing I did was I compared possession times for forwards versus possession times for defenders. So we can see here that the average possession time for forwards is 2.3 seconds, and the average possession time for defenders is 1.75 seconds. And I don't think this is obvious at all. I would have expected the possession times to be more of the same, or perhaps even the other way around. But the data is quite clear here. Forwards possess the puck for longer times on average. And the data is quite clear. The difference is even relatively large. So I don't know if this is a women's hockey thing or if this is a general hockey thing. But it's pretty clear that in the NWHL, forwards possess the puck for longer than defenders. So I think that's interesting. And I also looked at where the possession starts. So you can see here that 60% of defender possessions start in the defensive zone. For forwards, the start positions is much more evenly distributed. I think that makes sense. There's nothing revolutionary about that at all. And the one thing that I find interesting is the neutral zone starts, because I would have expected this to be a lower number. Again, my primary experience comes from watching the NHL, and I don't see a lot of neutral zone possession starts in the NHL. You don't see a lot of passes in the neutral zone. You don't see a lot of puck losses in the neutral zone. You see a lot of puck carrying, and you see a lot of dump ins, I think, but not a lot of possession starts. So if I would have guessed, I would have expected this number to be even lower than it is. Again, maybe it's the same thing in the NHL. I don't know. I don't have that data. Or maybe it's a difference in styles. It could very possibly be that in women's hockey you take more risks in the neutral zone. That's very possible. More passes, more puck losses because of more risks. You don't know. But I find it interesting nonetheless. The last thing I looked at was the shooting time, shots and shooting times. So here on the x-axis, we have the shot time. So how long does the player possess the puck before shooting it? So 0 seconds clearly means that it's a first timer, or at least close to a direct shot. On the y-axis, we have the percentage of shots. So the interesting thing to look at here is the yellow graph or yellow block here, because that shows the goal percentage. So clearly you have a larger chance of scoring if you shoot within 1 second. That's not surprising at all. The faster you get your shot off, the less time you give the goaltender to react. So I think that's pretty obvious. You also see that for first timers, the block percentage is lower. Again, same argument. If you shoot the puck directly, you give the defender less time to react, less time to block the shot. On the other hand, the miss percentage is higher, so you miss the net more often if you shoot directly. Again, makes perfect sense. It's technically more difficult to shoot a first timer than, so it makes sense that you'll miss the net more often. There's nothing weird or strange about this data, just that it actually confirms what we kind of already knew. But that's also nice. It's nice when the data shows what you expected. So you could do a lot of other things with this possession data. I don't want to go through it today, and I haven't really done all that much, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. Instead, I will finish this presentation by talking about my player cards. So I presented this data in player card form. So here's an example. I chose Alyssa. I'm not gonna say her last name because I will mess it up. So I'll just call her Alyssa. And here's her player card. So up here you have games played, goals, shot attempts, shot assists. And on the left side you have possession data, passing data, shooting data, and end event data. So what is end event data? That means how does the possession end? So 17% of the time, Alyssa's possessions ends with a shot. 62.6% of the time, her possession ends with a pass, and so on and so on and so on. So I elected to categorize the players in 3 player types. So you can be a passer, you can be a shooter, or you can be a puck carrier. So I've defined being a passer by this number. How big a percentage of your plays ends with a pass. That defines if you're a passer or not. I haven't if it's an incomplete pass or a complete pass, doesn't matter. It's the number of total passes. It's the same way I defined shooter as how big a percentage of your possessions ends with a shot. The higher the number, the more of a shooter you are. So you can see here that Alyssa is both a passer and a shooter. She's in the 76th percentile among forwards when it comes to passing. So puck carrier is defined a bit differently. That's defined by how far a player possesses the puck. So the longer the average puck carrying distance, the more of a puck carrier she is. So that's how I define puck carrying. Okay, so you can see here that Alyssa is a passer, she's a shooter, she's somewhat of a puck carrier as well, and she has a fairly high completion rate, so she completes a lot of her passes, and she has a very high shot assist rate, so she has many shot assists per puck possession. So that's all interesting. Now, just last week, I created a visualization tool as well. So we can actually see her passes. We can see her puck carries. So I'll just go to that. And this is the passing map, you could call it, of Alyssa. So all blue arrows means completed passes, red arrows means incomplete passes, and yellow means shot assists. So we can see that she has quite a lot of shot assists, but none of them are to the slot area. So there's not a lot of high danger shot assists. This is somewhat concerning, I would say. Nonetheless, this is her shot map. We could also change this one to look at her puck carries instead. So this is all of her puck carries, and we could even add in shots. So these are her shot attempts. So we can clearly see that she's a shooter. She has a lot of shot attempts, and she has a lot of high danger shot attempts. Now this is all at even strength. We could even change it to look at power play. So these are her power play puck carries. She has 2 shots, and she's clearly stationed on the right side on the power play. She doesn't appear to be responsible for zone entries. She only has 1 zone entry. So that's a power play puck carry map. We could also look at her power play passes. Oh, sorry. And these are her passes on the power play. Clearly, a lot of passes on the right side. Only 2 incomplete passes. It's interesting that she's not going for the diagonal pass. She's not going for passes into the slot area from her right side position. Instead, she's sometimes going to behind the net, and when she's there, she's seeking the assist. But from her position on the right side, she's not really passing it to the high danger areas. So that's shot maps, passing maps, carry maps. You can find all of these on my website. I think they're quite interesting to look at. So I actually think that's it for my presentation here. You should go to my website, hockeystatistics.com. If you go to data, you can download all the files here, all the spreadsheets, or you can even go to cards, this section, and go all the way down, and you can just open up the cards in an online version. So this is the visualization tool, and it shows Alyssa's power play passes. So you can change the team to, say, Boston and Lauren Kelly. So this is Lauren Kelly's passing on the power play. So go play around with it. Go read my Big Data Cup project and have a great conference. I'll make sure to watch all the videos once they are uploaded. So have a nice day.